Good afternoon, everybody. We'll call to order the Ford County Commission meeting for December 20th, 2021. Our meeting number will be 2021-46. We have Marsha Crouch here from the Marketplace Ministries International to lead us in prayer, and we'll have a pledge of allegiance.
I want to thank gentleman Herbst for helping me at this moment in time. I have a short reflection that I want to read. As I read, you can actually pray, and then we'll close. The importance of Jesus Christ. No one can see God, but Jesus Christ is exactly like Him. He ranks higher than everything that has been made. Through His power, all things were made, things in heaven and on earth, things seen and unseen, all powers, authorities, lords, and rulers. All things were made through Christ and for Christ. He was there before anything was made, and all things continue because of Him. He is the head of the body, which is the church. Everything comes from Him. He is the first one who was raised from the dead. So in Jesus Christ, He has first place over all. God was pleased for all of Himself to live in Christ, and through Christ, God has brought all things back to Himself again. Things on earth and things in heaven. God made peace available through the blood of Christ's death on the cross. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you this time of year. We remember this epic time in history where the calendar was changed forever, from BC to AD. Lord, thank you so much that you show us who God is, as you demonstrated who He was as you walked here on earth. Lord, may we reflect on the depths of our soul if we're emulating you in our daily walk. And we ask, Lord, for forgiveness for our sins and repentance to turn from our sins so we can live a life before you. Not just this time when we celebrate your birthday, but throughout the year, may we glorify you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Marshall. On our consent agenda today, we have approval of the minutes of the meetings 2021-43 and 44, the credit card statements, approval of additions and abatements, cereal malt beverage license for Rancho El Palomino, cereal malt beverage license for Freedom Petroleum, and cereal malt beverage license for Muni Oil. And last, we have a KDHE agreement, tuberculosis control program. Our appraiser, Patty Israel, was not able to be here today. She did stop by this morning and visit with me, and gave me a list here on our additions and abatements of those. 4 of them were personal property, property sold and or purchased notified after the cutoff date, Had a couple of Board of Tax Appeals decisions on some producing wells that were 5 barrels or less, had the exemption that was received after the cutoff date. Penalty reduced signed rendition after the cutoff date, and then one payment under protest hearing. That was fairly sizable, I believe. Real property, we have a small claims decision received after the cutoff date. Deeds for split combos filed after the cutoff date, and taxpayers requested a new adjusted tax bill for the deed split combo and a payment under protest hearing. So those are what's on for the approval, or the additions and abatements.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second it.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have claims for payment, the amount of $412,912.06. Make a motion to approve the claims for payment as presented.
I second it.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have open public comment next on the agenda. We'll limit that to 5 minutes per individual, 15 minutes per topic, unless we have an emergency situation. Do we have anybody for open public comment today? Seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. First up is Fort County Historical Society Appeals Grant.
Gentlemen,
Hello.
ma'am,
How we doing?
good.
Down to the wire.
Well, why not?
Kent, don't take that from you.
Oh, you'll take it? That was the first thing that came today for is the HEALS grant. And we have found out that we do not have to document the match until we get the grant.
Oh,
Which,
So we're off the hook on the deadline?
yeah, for a while.
Okay.
We will be back in to the new deadline. But basically, that's it. They will, we just submitted the grant today, and they will let us know by January 10th, so that's not too far from now. But we have some time, some breathing room here to get things put together. We have some for $75,000, which is the max, and it's for the Fire Prevention Center and all the other ADA things that are required in the building.
yeah.
So that's basically what it stands right now. And any questions about that?
I'd just like to apologize for not being here at the last meeting there. That was completely unexpected, and
Glad
I was
you're doing
just
better.
running on better, so.
Yeah, well, nice that you're here today. We also have some other things that came up since then, and that's, that we have sold all the tax credits that we got. That's $22,725 worth of tax credits. That was 4 people, one of which is in this room, but I will not identify. Anyway, CFAB, we have completed our obligations to them for the year for 2021, and that's taken care of. Tomorrow we will be submitting to my new grant, CFAB. We were told that we're getting another $5,000 from the Community Foundation, which is good news, and that will happen right after the first of the year. And we are starting our talks after the first of the year with the Brigadier General retired, that heads the Veterans Administration now in Kansas about Fort Dodge. So kind the last time we were here. Any other questions, any other comments?
Really?
Okay.
Okay. Well, happy
Correct.
holidays, everybody.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes,
Same to
thank
you.
you for your help this year. In the future.
Okay, next unfinished business item is for human resources. We have health benefit update.
Good afternoon.
I said human resources, and Chris got up and I was going,
Just wanted to have you.
you're taking a terrible step backwards.
You move from what, the place that gets the most phone calls to the place that gets the second most phone calls?
Just combine them.
Just
Okay, so, first off, we just want to give an update on the wellness incentive that we're looking at.
So, yeah, today I'm representing the Employee Benefit Committee, so not Human Resources. We went through and updated the wellness incentive for 2022. And what I'm asking for today on behalf of the committee is that we increase the amount of money awarded for the wellness incentive program. We would have 3 levels: a bronze level that would be worth $75 per quarter, a silver level that would be worth $150 per quarter, and a gold level that would be worth $225 per quarter. And this is to try to increase the participation and to help offset the healthcare costs, or health insurance costs.
So because we don't look at this every day, can you refresh our memories what level we're at now and
We're at,
So currently, we have $75 per quarter per person. So basically, if employee-only coverage, if somebody got all their points, they could get free premium. And also, we previously had a limit of 5 discretionary items. We're not gonna have any limits on that. And then we're gonna keep it to where the dependents can participate as well. So the people that have the dependent coverage, they could also see quite a big savings on their premium, or potentially free premium if they have, depending on the amount of dependents and activities that they have.
and we did readjust the points for these levels.
Right.
With making it to where there's not a cap on those discretionary, activities that you do have to earn more points. So right now, we can tinker with this, but really for today, we're just asking for the dollar value, but we can tinker with the points. The bronze is at 50 to 200, silver is at 210 to 300, and gold's at 310 to 400 points. And just as an example, if one of the activities that's worth 5 points is a minimum of 30 minutes of physical activity a day outside of work, or outside of work hours, so if somebody did that every day for the quarter, they've got 400 points.
Where do they get these points? You have to go to one of the business places.
So we have a list of, there's activities that are worth 50 points, 30 points, 25, 20.
I see that, I got
Yeah,
it.
so if you did a 30 minutes at home on your treadmill, then that would count as 30 minutes of physical activity outside of work.
Dodge City Co-op tried this, and my sister was there at the board, everybody cheated.
We do ask for some type of documentation, so it's not free for all. Anybody can participate, but, we do like to see some kind of verification.
So like the recreational sports participation, if I went out and played a round of golf, I'd have to unfortunately hand in my scorecard.
That's a lot of exercise. You're looking at a guy who plays lots of golf.
How many county employees currently participate in this?
Work this out.
It's like 36 right
Right.
now. It was
Um,
before COVID, it was more.
Yeah.
But after COVID, there's been a certain drop off.
Right,
Okay.
so one of the goals for 2022 is to revamp the current wellness incentive that we have to hopefully get people motivated again, and hopefully they can see that they could get a pretty good savings on their premium, and if they're gonna be participating in this, it is a return on investment for us, because it would lower our insurance, potentially lower our insurance renewal rates, because people are staying healthy, and hopefully we'll have fewer bills.
And when you kind of do this number, like when you think about the amount of people that are on the health department plan, is that still around the 35 range, or is that higher?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, the 235 range, people that would be signed up for the health insurance plan? Like how many county employees are actually signed up on the health insurance plan?
Tell you that off the top of my head.
No, that's-
Yeah, I don't have that information on the top of my head, but, like I said, before COVID, we had a lot of people participating, and just here recently we haven't, so I just hope that we can get that revamped with this updated
Okay.
dollar
How
amount.
many people do you got going to that, the wellness center?
The clinic,
Whatever you call it?
we can't exactly say how many people go.
Why can't you say how many people go?
It is protected information, they won't share that with us either. But we do have a report that we can share that has the amount of visits, just not necessarily the amount of people within Ford County that go to it.
Okay.
I'm not asking for their names, I'm just asking for the number of people that go.
I understand. I still can't share that.
I see.
Yeah, it's HIPAA.
That is not.
It is not
Well,
HIPAA.
that's,
Here's what you're trying to do is you're snowing, call it snowstorm in my world. We're just getting the snow.
I'm just a messenger.
Okay.
So.
I understand, I won't let you say it. Okay.
Chris, what are you guys asking for today?
So we're asking to increase the amount of the incentive program for 225 for the gold level per quarter per person that's on the plan that participates in this, and then 150 for the silver level and $75 for the bronze level
In a quarter.
in a quarter. Correct.
In our notes here, it says group life insurance renewal.
Yep, I'm not sure if you have paper in front of you, it's just showing you that it hasn't changed. The rate is gonna stay the same,
Okay.
but they'll just be, that's like normal, so.
Okay. So are you looking for two different things here, or are you looking for just one thing? Are you looking for just the renewal of the group life, or are you looking for modifying the plan as well?
Right, yeah, the renewal is separate from the wellness, so we'll be looking at both.
Okay. Well, I'd make a motion to approve the group life insurance renewal. It came from US Alliance.
I would second that.
And you said that was a renewal that's flat?
Yeah.
It's,
There is no change.
okay, and it's just the group life insurance policy that every employee gets offered?
Yeah.
Okay.
motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the second thing you were looking for was actually talking about the bronze, silver, and gold status, where you're discussing gold would get 100,
225.
225.
And 150 for silver per quarter and 75 for bronze.
And Chris, being a department head, you've kind of ran this through your employees, and you've listened to what the other department heads have presented, and you're thinking this will be something that will get people excited to increase using this?
It's my understanding that most of the employees are on the single plan. So
Okay, yeah,
if they
yeah.
got, if they got to the gold level, their insurance would essentially be free per quarter. So that's where the 225 came from, was the idea to try to get that back to a free level, and to do it through this program that would help them get healthier too. Because it's about $75 a month. It's $75 a month for health insurance for single. So for 3 months, 225. And like Molly said, that with the people that have the family plans, or the spouse, or the child plans, they can get additional above the 225. Because they're, if I have a child, then I would get up to 550 if they both hit the gold level.
Okay.
There is concern about the participation, and so we're hoping that this will be enough to get people incentivized to go up to it. It is, some of the concerns I did hear was that there's just a lot of work that goes into documenting all this stuff.
Sure.
So if you're gonna do that, it needs to be worthwhile.
Yeah, and then I know that you had a question last meeting about changing the amount of premium that employees pay. We did check with IMA on that for compliance, and the county could change those amounts in the middle of the plan year, as long as all employees were able to change the plan coverage, level of coverage.
You know, I mean, they don't get the federal money. So, I mean, they're here because, and they're fairly open. I mean, they're just like, we're making money here. You know, and they'll tell us we're making a ton, we're making 3 or 4 times more than what we're making in Arizona. And when you start looking at things like that, it's not fair on the back end when things get shorted on our side of it. So I think that's really where we're just, and you'll see when we go through the agreements, it's very open. It's very fair. We're not gouging anybody. We're just trying to be as fair as we can.
Trying to just get creative in my mind of something we could pull together this, or not, you know, get someone on the phone and get something sorted out so we're comfortable.
We got 11 days before the year ends, and Glenn's right there, and I guarantee you he'll work with your company to come up with the agreements. And that's just what we do. I mean, we can move very quickly. There's 3 of us that go through those negotiations, and we've been doing it for 11 years now, the 3 of us. So, I mean, it can happen fast. And if your team is ready, that's something that we can still make this happen before the end of the year. It just, to me, this isn't the right way to do it. It's all agreements, not just one.
Yeah.
And if it takes it, we can do a special meeting to do it
Correct.
before the end of the year.
Yeah, we are actually meeting on the 29th, so if that works for you guys, it's an 8 morning, actually not 8 in the morning, it's 9 o'clock meeting.
I think.
If they want a Christmas miracle, they can put her together.
I'm sorry, if I may, I'm Luke Hagedorn from Pulse Valley, I represent New Energy.
Sure.
Would it be possible, if we do a suite of agreements, to do them specifically for the mud mat work that we're looking at, instead of the whole project, or are you
The whole-
thinking the whole project?
The whole project is what I'd be looking for.
Just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, yeah.
Understood.
Thank you for being here.
So, I think I would make a motion at this point to table this. I don't wanna make a motion to deny it, in case they do wanna come back before the end of the year, and
Okay.
that would leave that option open for them to go ahead and develop those agreements, with Glenn and you and if possible, get it done by the end of the year. But if we make a motion to table it until the 29th, and then we can make a final decision there after they've had an opportunity to come up with something.
I'd second that.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sorry. Melissa, you got one more.
I got one more.
Hi.
This is Doyle Robertson.
Well, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Yes. You have before you resolution number 2021-27. This resolution is to approve a conditional use permit development plan for the purpose of operating a composting site. This parcel is currently zoned ag with a grandfather conditional use for railroad feed yard. It's owned by Bowman Enterprises LLC, and it is located in Enterprise Township. There is 297.16 acres on this parcel, which Nature's Best is leasing 13 acres for the composting site. This area currently has a livestock waste management permit given by KDHE and is located inside the feed yard. This composting site will take in paunch from National Beef, 4 to 5 truckloads a day, and will mix it with manure from the feed yard. This compost will be rich in nutrients and able to sell to local farmers. Composting business requires a KDHE license, and to obtain that license, that composting business needs a commissioner to sign off on it, which I have that paper here that I need to have you sign. The zoning board held their monthly meeting November 22nd and voted 3 in favor and 0 opposed to approve the conditional use with the following conditions. That the developer and field manager be properly trained on operating a composting facility. That the developer begins processing the incoming waste within 24 hours. That the developer not be allowed to compost dead animal or human waste without coming back before the zoning process. That the developer be allowed to haul only industrial waste that is suitable for composting, and that the waste come from Ford County only. That each truck used for hauling be properly tarped to avoid any spillage. That the developer be responsible for controlling any odor or fly problems in a timely manner. That the developer reduces the hours of operation and hauling to daylight hours only. And that the developer meets and obeys all the requirements and regulations of KDHE.
Missy, can you explain that map?
That, I wanted to explain, is the floodplain. It has, they're actually developing here,
Okay.
but I wanted to show you that in that 13 acres, there is a touch that's in floodplain.
The site's not in it.
But, right,
Yeah.
right, the site's not in the floodplain, but I try to give you guys all the information.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to figure it out on this one, because it looks like over here, that's not in a crop circle, but that one is.
Different mapping, different background. You think that I don't have the right map?
Right, because like this is next to that circle, and that's on the circle.
See this right here?
Yep.
That's right here. This is
Okay.
closer.
That's not this property?
No,
This is what we're
no,
looking at?
no, it's here. Right in here. See this black
Okay.
that says,
Did you guys catch that?
Missy?
It's
Here's
this
a-
area.
Here's a site map of the actual.
I thought it was this, because it
Oh,
was the
yeah.
yellow outline, the parcel ownership.
yes.
I saw that, and I was looking at this map.
No, it's right here, this dark area right here.
Okay,
So it's literally in the middle of the field.
yeah.
And here's a site map that he just gave me. I apologize for not making that clear, Commissioner.
I didn't even see the black handwriting on there. I just,
Well, it's my, I should have done better. Learn.
What was the thought of limiting the deliveries to daylight hours only?
We don't want them, because people don't want to have paunch spilling out on the highways at night. That's what I was told. It was one of the concerns that was brought before me, so.
what kind of a truck moves?
Sheriff is going, yeah, that's right.
We use a, we got a
I don't
belt
think we
trailer.
wanna-
It's
at any
belt
time-
trailers and they're
It's
all
not
fully
fun.
contained,
Yeah.
tarped all the time.
Yeah, KDHE, I mean,
Yeah.
looks at your trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Did you
spillage.
see that?
That was the reason I had, actually had somebody come up with that, and I'm like, okay.
And
our hours of getting the loads from National Beaver, daylight hours
daylight,
anyway.
yeah.
Okay.
Be using punch in that? Will you be using punch content in that?
Yes,
Thank you.
mixing it with the manure.
Thank you.
And do you have someone available 24/7 for emergency calls?
Yes,
And who would that be?
myself.
Okay. And do you want to make sure you give your information to the sheriff?
Yes.
That would be good. If we approve it, right?
What about the punch content of liberal? Are you bringing that up?
No.
Not you?
No.
I thought maybe you'd stumble on
No.
that.
We're only getting out of Raider now.
What about Cargill?
We're looking to hopefully take that one over so we can clean up the mess that's north of town.
Well, you'd have to call that right.
Yeah.
So do you guys, will you have, like sand and tractors available, for emergency cleanups?
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of the business plan?
Yeah.
I would like to make sure that's spelled out in there if possible.
Is that spelled out?
It is not spelled out, but it can be. We
It's,
can add it on.
Sand and,
well, proper cleanup, proper equipment and personnel that does cause a strain on fire EMS and,
Yes.
yeah. It's funny to do, it puts a strain on fire, road and
Does
bridge,
Punch catch on
my
fire?
office. Well, it's
No.
cleanup.
road nets.
Yeah.
If you have a fill.
Sure.
It's strictly just the contents of the stomach.
Right,
That's
right,
all-
right.
That's all punches.
Yeah.
Right.
No animal parts in it.
Yep. We looked at,
It's just what they ate the morning before they slaughtered.
yeah, we looked at taking that over in the county and doing that out of the landfill. And we felt like for us, it was a conflict of interest since it's already right next to the landfill. And we knew they didn't enjoy who they were working with up there, but it's good that you stepped in to,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to the landfill.
yeah.
Well, of course, that up there is Cargill.
Right.
That's Cargill, punch content going up there.
Yeah.
Gary Shannon.
Yep.
We know Gary.
I know.
Alright.
Is that something easy enough for you to?
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for Nature's Best Compost.
I second it.
Is that 21, 27? Yeah, 21.
So that the addition, we want to make that one addition to.
We wanna make that.
Yeah.
The conditions.
With my second's permission, I'll rescind the previous motion and make it correctly.
I second that.
So I need to make a motion to adopt resolution 21-27. Is that correct? The number was right there.
That's 13 here.
That approves, I think that was for the zoning,
Yeah, that was a zoning case.
zoning number. That approves the conditional use permit
With the one additional.
With the
condition.
addition of the
for Nature's
emergency.
Best Compost with the addition of the emergency cleanup provision.
How can I second it?
Now I would enjoy
I
a second.
it.
Commissioner Snook seconds. Any further discussion? I think we got it all out of the way before. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Did you want that back? I have that. You've given me that plan that he had.
Yes.
This.
Would you? I need to have.
You need my phone number? If you have it, you got a card? I sure do.
I also voted yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Listen, if you could find out where the flaws are, and see what- yeah, we only got 2 miles to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
You just got busy.
Then wait.
Yeah. So do you have a plan to sell the fertilizer as well?
Yeah.
Is that going to like
Farmers?
farmers?
Oh, yeah.
Farmers, oh, okay.
Yeah, we're booked out.
Good.
Yeah, we're hauling launch to Little right now, so we have all this done.
Yeah.
You know, and
Save you the-
they're using every bit of it as a landfill to cover their stuff to help.
Oh, that's the
Upgrade
covers.
it, yeah. They put a layer of trash and then they put it over the top and then helps fight the grade for trash.
How far are you gonna deliver?
Well, we're delivering 50 miles.
Yeah, he's going to Whittle now.
I mean, our product, just the manure that we're conditioning, we're delivering it out 40 miles right now. And when we put launch, it'll be the same distance.
Okay.
And it's economic for the farmers to go that far because our product sold to the farmer is a fourth the price of commercial fertilizer.
Do you have cards?
Sure do. I actually got a packet sample of it.
I'd rather not have that here right
No,
now.
it don't smell.
Smell it?
It don't even smell like dirt.
How's that not smell?
It don't. The composting of it changes the whole
I
structure of it.
don't need a card, I'm not gonna buy it.
He'll bring you some samples by.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Ready to move on?
Yes, sir. Next item is for Gilmore and Bell for the project authorization of Garth Herman, bond counsel.
Good afternoon, Chairman.
Welcome back.
Garth Herman, Gilmore and Bell, the county's bond counsel. Before you is a resolution to authorize bond financing for all or a portion of the costs of the county road improvements at 112 Road and Outlaw Road in the estimated amount of $9.33 million. This resolution authorizes bonds up to that amount to finance all or a portion of those costs. Like I said, it's anticipated and hoped that some of those costs will actually be paid for or reimbursed from a state loan that's in process. So it may end up that the county will not need to issue that full amount of bonds. And this resolution and the bonds themselves and the project are being issued and authorized pursuant to the charter resolution that the county went through the process to authorize back earlier this fall. That charter resolution, the 60-day protest period expired in early December, so it is now law for Ford County, and you can use it at your discretion by adopting resolutions such as this for future county road projects. So with that being said, I'll stand for any questions that you may have.
So, making that resolution, or whatever, the resolution that we did here a couple months ago.
The charter, yes.
The charter. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but it gave me some feeling of unease. I mean, and how that ends up getting used way out into the future.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It can take some legs.
It could take some legs, yeah, it, that's a great way of putting it, that's something that may get away from, and I was wondering what options we have going forward. If we get this project done, we get that all taken care of, can we rescind that and come back to the way things were before?
You can
Make
if you would
that-
like to.
Make that so that it takes a new action of some future board to redo that at some future date if they have another project that they.
Yeah,
go through the
so
process.
a county, Board of County Commissioners can approve a charter resolution, as I mentioned at the time, to basically change a law that applies to the county but does not apply to all counties throughout the state. By having that sort of a law that doesn't apply to everybody, that authorizes counties to go in using their statutory power to change that specific law, how it applies to the county, by going through the process that we went through back in September, October, that time period. A subsequent county commission could be the same members, but it could be a different county commission. can always come in, and by going through the same process, they can amend and change the provisions of that charter. They can also go through the process to repeal that charter. And by repealing that charter, then anything, we'll say bond-related that you had done up to that point pursuant to that charter. So if you issue bonds, and those bonds are outstanding pursuant to that charter, and then afterwards, if you come in and repeal that charter, that does not affect the validity of those bonds. But that charter is no longer on the books, so if you ever wanted to go through that process and issue, bonds for county roads, similar to what you're doing for this project, you would then have to restart the process and go back through that charter resolution process. I say the Board of County Commissioners at that time would have to go through the process to get a, similar charter put back in place.
So I just view the process as something of a safeguard against having a runaway train there with that kind of authority or.
But the charter only enables you to do things. It doesn't, a future commission would still have to take action to do something, to issue bonds for a project. It's just an enabling thing to Ford County to be able to do that.
That's a very good point, Glenn. We always talk about these as this is authority. It is not a requirement. So with the charter, it authorizes the county to finance certain types of projects, road projects in a certain way. Likewise, this resolution that's before you right now, once again, we always call this is our project authorization resolution. It is the authority to do it. It is not the requirement that you do it. So even if you adopt this resolution, that just means you have the authority to issue bonds for these. You don't have the requirement. You're not on the hook and now you must go and issue the bonds. You just simply have that authority. The charter resolution is a somewhat similar concept where it is the authority for not just you, but future boards of county commissioners for Ford County. That is a tool that would be available to, subsequent governing bodies and subsequent, county officials to basically have that tool available to meet the demands of maybe in the future.
So why would we do it now then? Why wouldn't we wait until we got the actual pledge from the state for the 80%?
For the bond authorization?
Talking about the roads we're talking about 112 road, we're talking about alcohol.
Yeah.
So why would we do it now?
Well, one reason why, counties or cities will often authorize a project once they have a good handle on the scope of the project and the cost of the project is to go ahead and you get that authority in place. And what it does is it does two things. One, it authorizes you, like I said, to be able to finance that cost when you're ready. So then when it is time to get that money, you already have the initial step taken care of. So then you can move a little bit quicker when you need to. The second thing that it does is that's state law purposes. The second thing that it does is for federal tax law purposes. So in the past, when the county issues your bonds, those bonds are federally tax exempt. So if you own one of those bonds repay principal and they repay interest. The interest money that the bond owner gets would normally be income. But under federal tax law, it is not considered income for the purposes of doing like personal income taxes. So that's a big benefit. Tax code puts a lot of provisions and restrictions in place to make sure that money's used for good purposes and how that money can be used.
So what's the rate of interest on this bond?
Well, we don't know yet. We won't know that until the bonds are actually sold.
Is it gonna be what the Fed's got the interest rate at now?
Well, it depends on how long out you're looking.
See, I think that's a better argument than the other
Yeah.
argument that's thrown out there.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you can get it at 2%.
You can, in the county historically, you have a good credit rating, and historically, when you have borrowed, you don't borrow all that often, so that can be a good thing or a bad thing, but in your case, I think that's probably a good thing. You show that you're not out in the market all the time, and that when you do, you clearly pay your bills, and you're very, fiscally conservative and have good management. So those are all good benefits that will help when the ultimate bond sale occurs, to help get that lower interest rate also. And also, by doing this resolution, it allows you, if you do need to spend money before those bonds are issued, by authorizing the project, if the county spends money on the design or the engineering or land acquisition or survey or anything kind of in the preliminary lead up to.
They have, but because we will get our renewal numbers in March and hold open enrollment in May, HR does not recommend changing employee premiums at this time, because if we reduce now and have to raise in a few months, employees may not understand why that change happened within a few months. Like I said, we just don't have the renewal numbers just yet.
If we're gonna make any adjustments on premiums, it's much easier to do it at renewal time. Yes?
Yes.
How many people are in your department now? HR? Just two, okay. Is this gonna be, I mean, this is gonna keep you busy.
Yeah, it does. It does already. So the old wellness incentive that we had, it wasn't tiered out like this. So the reason I did it like this is to hopefully simplify, the data that comes in and to be able to do that a little bit easier.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think to keep it going, I'll make a motion to accept the wellness incentive that's being proposed.
I will second. Any further discussion?
I think it's gonna be interesting to see if there's gonna be buy-in from the team on this. I mean, if currently we have 36 people using it out of maybe 280 or whatever we have for employment, you know, if we're only around a, 15-20% interest right now, it'd be interesting to see, like, really, if this is doing what you think it's supposed to do. So it'd be nice to see those numbers the opposite,
That was one of the concerns that the committee had, was that if we don't see an increase in numbers of participation from this, then maybe worth doing away with it.
Yeah. Well, and I was just thinking it's gonna bring extra workload on your department. I mean, I can't imagine if you had 50%, sending the photos that they were on a treadmill running, or whatever might be the case. Hopefully not falling over their Pelotons, but, it'd be interesting to see what comes out of that, so.
And I'm willing to look and see if it's something we can simplify it through the form center on the website, where I can make it to where, it's just so an employee can log on there, fill out a form every time, instead of handwritten, writing it, and it would just send an email to HR whenever somebody fills out that form.
Yeah.
Or if it can be done through the new Chronos app and stuff like that.
I think, your workload, being able to verify, that it's being used correctly. It seems to me like a lot of this is gonna have to be done on an honor system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
And that's
Very-
just, I don't know how you verify it. Sending video of somebody on a treadmill and making sure that they're sweating so that they've been on there a while. And I don't know how.
There's programs out there, but of course they cost money. So.
Well, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we could buy everybody a Fitbit, but.
Well, what if the first quarter, you see people that are actually turning stuff in, and then second quarter, you're questioning maybe one or two of them, and all of a sudden it starts this chain of people are now mad about it, that they're now not getting the money they were kind of planning on getting the money. Yeah.
Because obviously they have, their dependents could participate.
Mhm.
I just, yeah, that second quarter really.
I've heard of other counties where they have, like, in the staircases, they'll have like little scanner that you drive by. You run up and, or walk up and down the stairs and you'd scan it on your phone, and it'd send it down to you guys saying, hey, I did my exercises, or I went out and I walked my steps.
Yeah, there's some really cool programs out there that.
It's money.
I wanna save you some money.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no further discussion, I'll call a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that does it for unfinished business. I don't see anything for legal counsel, although we will hear from you later in the meeting, I guess. Brings us to county administrator's report.
And the first item I have on the admin report is the ITC Great Plains Road Maintenance Agreement. I don't know if you have anyone here to discuss that. Did Missy stay in the room, or Missy?
This is right here.
Oh, there you are. Did Eric say he was gonna be here for this or anything?
I was not informed.
Yeah, he will.
Okay. I believe the reason Eric would want to be on the agenda for this is this should be the finish of the road maintenance agreement. The follow-ups, road studies have been done, and any damage that was caused on Saddle or on 117 road has already been addressed by ITC. And there was no further damages found. They did send a check for the deposit, or the, not the deposit, thinking of the word here. He's wanting to release the,
Oh, the funds in the bank?
yes, he's wanting to release the funds in the bank, yes.
Escrow?
Yep, that's true.
Well, I make a motion to approve, I guess, bringing this road maintenance agreement with ITC Great Plains to an end and release the funds from the Saddle Substation Road Maintenance Agreement for Fort County.
I second it.
The motion and second, any further discussion?
You know, I guess just for clarification on something real fast, ITC is a very unique group for us, because they truly are people from here. And, you know, lived in our community for a long time, so I think I know we had a road maintenance agreement, but I think almost when you look at road maintenance agreements, I think they make a lot of sense for wind farms. I almost think in a situation like this, maybe we don't need one in the future. I just think that we knew that they'd be light usage on the road, and I mean, just saying they'd be a good partner anyway. I mean, they've given county donations in the past, just saying we probably don't, I don't know if that's the best thing to say outright, but I would say they've been truthful about everything they've done. They've always been good stewards of the road itself.
Been a good company to work with.
Yeah.
Yes, they have been. We did have damages that they addressed promptly,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Second item is the cooperator fishing access agreement for Department of Wildlife and Parks and Fort County Lake. This is a 10-year agreement that is ending December 31st of this year. And it's basically allowing the county to still have access to, and the citizens, access to the lake for fishing, etc. It's a standard agreement.
I make a motion to approve the 10-year cooperator fishing access agreement with the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks.
I second that.
With the motion and second, any further discussion?
If we didn't have this agreement, what happens to the wildlife and parks? What happens to the lake? I mean, is it,
I'm sure they would probably come back to us and try to figure out.
I mean,
I
they're
guess
not
it-
gonna maintain it, right?
I
mean,
guess it
it's-
would depend on why we would disagree, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But that's a really good question. I mean, because it does belong to the state, but
Right.
we operate it and maintain it. So I'm sure they would probably try to, if it got into a head-to-head, I'm sure they would probably try to limit something that we're able to do out there that would bother us somehow. I'm not sure what that would be, but.
I think that they do all the stocking, they do everything in terms of the lake, and, we've had this agreement in place. This is a
Forever.
renewal, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's never been an issue that I'm aware of in terms of.
Yeah, I don't think they would know what they could do to motivate us.
All of their services are probably tied up in this too. I mean, with the stocking, all the biologist services and things like that that go on with the fishes. The warnings we got about the blue algae,
Yeah.
stuff that came from them
Correct.
because of their monitoring of these situations too, so.
Yeah, we wouldn't even know. We were running it.
Yeah, I think they actually closed access for a while, so they
Right. I was just reading through their agreement, I always just thought, this is so detailed.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's been in place since the seventies.
It's because it's like probably 500 other situations I've gotten to use the same agreement, message boxes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of typical standard farm agreement.
Right. Just thought I'd ask.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next two items are from Missy Drake. Planning and zoning.
Jonathan, would you like to come?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Jonathan, I can't think of your last name.
Leventhal.
He represents Invenergy.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Jonathan Leventhal.
You have before you resolution number 2021-26. This is to approve a conditional use permit and development plan for the purpose of building 10 mud mats for the future development of a wind farm. This project will be located in southeast Ford County. The townships involved are Blackburn and Sodville. The project will consist of up to 10 mud mats. Mud mats are thin concrete slabs that serve as a working surface for future turbine foundations. The development of a mud mat involves excavating a hole that is approximately 13 feet deep and 90 feet in diameter. Pouring mud mats for a portion of the planned turbine locations will allow the project to qualify for federal tax credits. Invenergy will prepare a development plan for the wind farm at a later date, once additional land has been secured and additional project studies have been completed. The zoning board held their monthly meeting November 22nd and voted 2 in favor, 1 opposed to approve the conditional use in the following conditions. As approved as per the development plan submitted, applicant should meet all applicable federal, state, and local regulations. Or county reserves the right to rescind this conditional use upon any violation of county regulations or conditions governing this approval. And this conditional use is for mud mats only. Invenergy will need to go through the process of getting a conditional use with a development plan when they're ready to establish the wind farm. This is different than what we're used to, having everything come in at one time. We're not used to this at all, so this was a different process.
Yeah, I would tell you, I'm against it, just to let you know. I really think that we're outstepping what we do. I think was really tough was, when we went with Iron Star on this last project. I think one of the things that was such a challenge for us was that came time for the pilot agreement, and they really just cut us short. And what I'd really just say is, in this situation, you're already basically getting access to land and putting it in people's minds that the project's here and that we're moving forward, and we haven't even come to the first step of the agreement process. And I just think it's cart before the horse. I think that if we had a pilot agreement, if we had a road maintenance agreement, and we had decommissioning agreements, and we were at the same table and we were discussing those things, I'd be in favor of this and let you move forward with that. But I really just think at this point, it's not in the best interest of the county. I mean, I don't see how this benefits a citizen right now. I mean, it helps you guys as a company, I totally get that, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Sure, I think
Yeah, I understand cart before the horse. I mean, do you have any questions about the process or anything that I could, I mean, it sounds like you're,
I don't.
yeah.
I mean, I get what you're trying to do. I mean, I get that it would still be a workable piece of ground for the farmer for a period of time.
Yeah.
Until you guys are ready to roll, and it gives you 10 footprints, you know, that you can, you know, get an abatement on.
Does this allow you to ask the government for some money? Is that what the deal is?
Yeah, it's typically, I mean, in the development process, it happens early on to qualify to, help the economics of the project, and really help the thing come to life. Otherwise, you'd have, I mean, it can take all shapes and sizes, but it'd be either more difficult or a different strategy, or, I'm quite honestly not even sure what creative ways we'd have to develop the project, you know, without this. But it is pretty key, and I understand where you're coming from.
I mean,
I'm trying
our last time going through with Iron Star, I mean, I gotta tell you, I mean, that was probably one of the roughest pilot agreements I've ever been around. And I just couldn't get over how aggressive they came at us. It was so unique. And they basically were trying to tell us this is how it's gonna be from here on out. And, I mean, we know we're strong wind. And I get how this benefits you guys, but it doesn't necessarily benefit the county because we don't have our agreements in place. And that's the only way we protect ourselves. I mean, in this situation, if you're doing something like that, it's more about you and the landowner. But we saw that in Gray County where they moved forward and then the project didn't come to fruition. And they had to go back out and tear up 2 of these mats. I mean, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the history of Iron Star, but, you know, I can only speak for Invenergy and
Right.
what we plan to do. It's
It's a solid company.
yeah. I mean, you've met myself, I think Meredith, a couple others.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a unique scenario, and, I mean, I don't know how we'll work through it in this setting.
I get, in Commissioner Boyce said it exactly the way cart before the horse is really the feeling that I get about this as well. We've been doing wind farms in Fort County for quite a few years. Been going through and doing these agreements, these pilot programs, and so on and so forth. And I think we've learned something on each and every one of them that we've done.
Right.
And we took a particularly hard lesson on the last one that we did. And felt like we were strong-armed pretty hard with Iron Star. And I really think that taking a cautious approach going forward with any of the new ones is gonna be our norm. Whether it's anybody else's idea or not, that's gonna be the way we approach it, I think, because of the way we felt like we got dealt with on the last one. So I guess I would be kinda in the same camp here.
That leaves me, I'm gonna follow your advice, because I wasn't around to see only the last one. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm following the company. I guess we have no deal, right?
No way to work it out, you're saying?
Oh, I'm sure we can work it out,
Yeah.
but I'm sure we can work it out.
Glenn's right over there. I mean, if you guys wanna give a pilot agreement and a road maintenance agreement and a decommissioning agreement real fast, and you wanna sign them, because ours are very simple. I mean, I know you're probably not the people that can do it, but I mean, if you want to move that way, I mean, that's what we wanna see, is that it's a serious project, and then if that's the case, go put the nuts and that's it.
Yeah, for background, I mean, like, we have a contractor's like ready to start work tomorrow morning.
Sure.
Mobilized here. So I think there's a lot to think about, and just for everyone to have them on the phone, so if they have any specific questions. My thought is, you were saying that it benefits us and the landowners at this stage. I mean, it's not a contest, but, you know, this, moving forward in this way, you know, let's say that this is the point where the project doesn't happen. Let's just, say that. I mean, in that case, the county would also, be missing on that opportunity.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I hear where you're coming from. I mean, I get it. I just wanna,
We know that we have the strongest wind channels. We know that people are beating our door down to come here. I mean, we know that. What I think is sad is, if you wanna call it whatever you wanna call it, the Cadillac of wind that we have, when you're getting it for Hyundai prices, for me, that's really disappointing. I mean, I think legislation could move quick enough to bring those things to full tax, to actually pay it out the right way. Because on this last one, I mean, I really think they're getting a crazy deal. I mean, it's a third of what they should be paying, and they know it. And I think that they really, really made this a difficult situation for us, because all the agreements were ready to roll except for one, and they played us. And we,
the most important one.
the most important one on our end for for helping out with the roads, and that's what's tough is, I mean, and I know you guys weren't here, but I mean, we sit here and struggle with trying to get one more mile of road repaired, and that's what the kind of budget we've worked with. And I think that's what's hard is when an organization like this comes in and it's a long footprint. Yours is also a long footprint. I mean, it's within a couple counties even. I mean, we're trying to make sure that we actually have roads repaired in those areas. And what's tough is when the money's not there, it's hard to move forward.
Yeah.
So.
It's frustrating to be in the footsteps of that,
And Jonathan, I hope and look forward to the county being able to have a project with Invenergy. I do. I think they're a good company. We need to do it with all of those agreements and do it all. I really think that's where we're at. But as far as missing out on an opportunity, we're not gonna have the wind that we have here and miss out on an opportunity as far as the county goes. We'll have other people that will come and develop it one way or another.
Yeah, we've met with people from Spain.
We may not get it right away. We may back this project up a little bit, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
We have that line that's gonna come in, that big transmission line. That's why you guys are thinking about building down there, is because that line's coming in. And if we can't get it done right, somebody else will develop it. It'll happen.
Yeah, we've dealt with, or worked with people from Spain and Canada, and both those people don't get what you guys are trying to, get the teeth in.
Okay, we will call back to order our meeting out of executive session. I would make a motion to adopt resolution number 2021-28 to approve and join the statewide litigation regarding the opioid epidemic.
I second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And there was a second piece to that, is that correct, Glenn?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I recommend the board authorize the chairman to sign the agreement to release and assign claims.
I'd make a motion that the board authorize the chairman of the board to release and assign claims.
Execute the agreement to release and assign claims.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
That's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, everybody. I believe that's it for the day. I'd make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Getting that project built. If you use county funds for that, by authorizing this project, when you ultimately issue those bonds, you can take that bond money, you can reimburse yourself. So if you spend $100,000 on the survey, I'm just making up numbers, if you spend $100,000 on the survey, you issue the bonds, let's say you issue bonds 3 months from now, you you can take $100,000 from that bond money, reimburse yourself, reimburse your general fund or your project fund or wherever you spent that $100,000 from, to basically get your money back. By authorizing it now, it allows you to do that.
Is there a, and also count as 20% match
Yeah.
as well?
On the survey part of it at least, yeah. We haven't talked about, we've just talked about land acquisition for right of way, so I'm sure we can get that put in there to have that letter redrawn. But that's the point I was gonna make too, the reason why we wanted to go through this resolution now, so we're not holding up the timeline of the project. So we're not 60 days out or 90 days out. We can do stuff now.
Because they spoke about wanting to do land acquisition as soon as the survey was done, just to get going.
And that timeline is by the end of January. So we're looking at 30 days.
Okay. What is the number of this, 28?
No, it is 29.
Of course it is.
These come in at odd times.
So I would make a motion to adopt resolution 21-29 for the project authorization of Outlaw and 112 roads.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Does that cover sufficiently the motion we need? All those in favor?
Aye.
Garth, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Next item is for Emergency Manager Rex Beaver, the emergency purchasing policy.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi, Rex.
The difference on those is the one that was sent out Friday.
Yeah.
Glenn sent it out, my coordinator, and that's what come out of the emergency operations plan because the one that Glenn had approved, curbs, was in my box, not in the plan itself. And it's just that top paragraph, the only thing that's different on it.
And for clarity, gentlemen, all this does, right now, department heads have discretion to spend up to $1,000 right now. And we changed that last year, maybe the year before. 2019, we've changed that, and the county administration has everything up to 10,000. So in emergencies, department heads will be able to approve everything up to 5,000. Another point of clarification, even in those situations, department heads are still working with administration on those purchases. It's not like they're just out. Every purchase is approved by administration on the back end anyway, so through the PO process or whatever, we see everything that comes through.
So are we looking for a motion to approve this policy change?
But I think it's not necessarily a passive change. We've actually taken what Rex has and we've placed it into the purchasing policy, the overall Ford County purchasing policy. The idea being to have everything in one spot. So we have a resolution for you today that would be 2021-30, which would be, of course it is. Which would incorporate what Rex has there, so if you could approve the resolution, you'd be approving what Rex has presented to you. And we'll have it, everything else in the resolution is as the 2019 purchasing policy provided. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We just want to have it in one place.
thought I read on my computer that came from somebody, that if one commissioner was here and the other two are not available, that with the deal that can be raised, be gone to $10,000. Is that correct?
It's on here, yes.
Yes, that's on here. That's
In
the
an
middle paragraph.
emergency.
Because there's no guarantees that all three of you are gonna be around, or two of you are gonna be around,
Well,
and
I think
everything, and a disaster's.
Well, we had, the time we had the wildfires, I mean, two of us were in Topeka and one was here, and I mean, that would have been a time that would have happened.
Or maybe some of us get wiped out.
I was gonna say, that's what that covers.
That's what's really for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No communication.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want the resolution to read from?
That would be fantastic. Does it have the number on it?
Is it 28?
It's not 28.
A mysterious one.
We have a mysterious resolution number out
28
somewhere.
is hanging out somewhere.
Uh,
It's like losing a check.
I'd make a motion to adopt resolution 2021-30, adopting a new purchasing policy, amended purchasing policy for Ford County, Kansas.
I second it.
The motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Rex.
Thank you, gentlemen. The last speech for the Emergency Operations Plan.
Oh, is that right?
Have they had a chance to read that yet, Rex?
They approved it, I don't know. It looks like it's up to 3 pages according to this.
I'm sure I heard him talking about it.
You happen to see 28 out there in your travels, see if any of them.
The next item is for the sheriff,
Oh, God.
for the vehicle purchase.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Sheriff.
Asking for permission to purchase another vehicle. This will, it is budgeted. We have money left over this year, however, we'll use it for next year's. We just invoiced it after the first of the year. We have access to another Tahoe.
Okay.
It's funny, because I come across this, I was speaking to one of the guys from the Chevy the other night, he's like, yeah, good luck on finding anything for 22. So, made me feel better about putting my name on this one. So, I do have it on hold, pending your approval. If we get that, we can, it'll be obviously a month or so before we're able to get our hands on it, but I'd like to get it
Where is
purchased,
it?
sitting in Wichita. TCS upfitting.
Is this a replacement vehicle then?
This will be one that will rotate out, so what we'll do is when we get ready to put this one in, the one going out of service, we'll sell it on Purple Wave. So we'll put that back in the general fund. The purchase price on this one was $42,500. And then we got the,
Now, is this again one of those that comes fully fitted? All you have to do is put your sticker on it?
yes, so the vehicle is $42,500. I don't recall, Debbie, I don't know if you recall, just kind of, so we just bought a Tahoe here a month or so ago. It's already went up around a little over $3,000.
Yeah.
That's how the market's, so it's ridiculous right now. Like I said, just getting our hands on something, fleet vehicles are just they're gonna be hard to find.
Yeah.
So, and then the upfitting expense on this, in addition to the $42,500, is $13,761.61. So that'll get it completely upfitted, turnkey, as you're talking about.
So 42.5 plus 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
But that 13 pretty much stays with the vehicle?
yes, that gives it a blueprint, that's everything, like I said, and, like I said, I think after this one, now we're gonna start getting into lowering the expenses because we'll have a complete blueprint across all of our fleet of vehicles. So we'll be able to, now when we change out the equipment in these current ones, we'll be able to transfer over into the newer vehicles. the lights, siren boxes and stuff like that, so should start seeing a decline in that expense. We did, it was just a matter of time, we just had to get there.
Yeah.
It's taken us, what, 4 years?
And the vehicle that would leave the fleet would be an SUV or a
Yeah,
four-wheel
it's
drive?
one of the older ones. This is the one, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one we picked up from Protection Police Department.
Okay.
It was one they had, older one they had sitting in the city hall down there. When the oil boom was going on, they decided they needed 2 vehicles and that went off.
Oh.
So, they called, struck us a deal, and we went down and bought it, if you all recall. and-
Yeah.
If you get 2 calls.
Yeah. It worked out fine. We've already had others trying to buy the pickup, which we were bought purchased recently, so.
Oh, wow.
It's just, the market's hard to get right now. They did tell us even if we were to look for a pickup, maybe June, we'd be able to get on a list and then not even receive the pickup until December. So,
That's fun.
so it's JD, it's kinda hard to pass something up that's sitting in front of us right now. It's available.
Talk to the team, let them know that they'd rather not walk and
Yeah.
take care of that ride.
They have that. Just getting rough. That's it. I think you guys have heard about it, and the chief up here talks about fire equipment, and Chris on some of his stuff, and the landfill talking about their loaders, and it's affecting everything we do right now.
On the other hand, if we're reduced to riding bicycles around, they should be able to hit their health goals for each quarter.
Kind of documented.
It's after hours.
Outfit them with a pedometer.
That's right.
That's the only way I'll ever be in that world.
42.5 buys a lot of Fitbits.
I would make a motion to approve the purchase of the Tahoe from TCS Upfit
I second that.
with the upfitting.
I second that.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you, Sheriff.
Gentlemen, the next item is the K-Camp contribution for 2022. It's gone up this year from about $293 and some change to $315. That formula they use basically takes into account our assets and our expenditures as well. If our expenditures go up, the contribution will go up. But also, we've had some claims in some areas that have gone up, so that's part of it too.
Well, landfills, buildings done, so some of those things come online.
So, but when we were talking to them earlier today, Amy and I, explaining that the entire pool went up this year, but we were still on the lower end of the formula, so that's always good to hear. So just need a motion to approve that.
I'd make a motion that we approve the 2022 membership contribution to Kansas County Association Multi-Line Pool.
I second that.
Motion second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is the Constitutional County.
Kind of been the lead on this, so I guess I'll start. I mean, my thought is that we let this go with no action at this time.
Okay.
And if we try and develop something
Yeah, I
specific.
think that
for the county.
would be helpful. I'll send out the information that I've gathered together. And then I think it also would be helpful to get some feedback in terms of ideas. And so that we can then bring it back with a little bit more of a substance to it.
Well, if it pleases the other commissioners, I'd like to sit with Ken and try and develop something that we can bring for the board's consideration and try and develop some kind of a vision for this.
Suits me if you'll send me a page where I can sit down and
Paper.
cross out and all that.
Paper, with a highlighter.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty good at that highlight.
I believe it.
We can move to the next one, I guess.
All right. Upcoming meetings, we have the Christmas holiday, that's Friday, December 24th. County offices will be closed with the exception of the first responders as always, and communications. 2021 year-end county commission meeting, that'll be Wednesday, December 29th at 9 a.m. here in the county commission chambers. The New Year's holiday is Friday, December 31st. Again, county offices will be closed. NACO Legislative Conference in February. Commissioner Tassett, do you know if you will be attending that?
Do we know anything about how they're gonna conduct business or any of that comments?
Are you meeting in person versus Zoom, so?
I'm meeting mask requirements,
Yeah.
vaccination requirements, so on and so forth.
And I haven't seen anything.
I'd like to know that before I commit.
I'll make sure you find out when we get there. That is all I have for the admin report.
All right, on our agenda, we have scheduled an executive session. I would make a motion that the board recess into executive session to discuss the pending opioid litigation pursuant to the attorney-client privilege exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, KSA 75-4319 B2. The open meeting to resume in this location only.
I think at least get up 10 minutes, or
Okay,
maybe 10 after 5.
let's make it 15 after 5 to resume here, 15 after 5. In addition to the commissioners, the county administrator and the county counselor should be included in the executive session. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, did you want to include, or Kennedy, would you want to include the sheriff?
That's fine, yeah.
Maybe Chief Boyd if he'd be.
I was just gonna say, it may be a good idea to have the chief here as well, so.
They're not going anywhere.
I would
You'll love it in a second.
I would amend my motion to include the sheriff and the chief, and we'll see if they will second.
I'll see.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.